Welcome everybody to an episode of Two Joes and a Pro. It's your host here, Kenny, Ryan, and Brian. We're happy to have y'all here today. Ryan and Brian, my guys, how are y'all feeling?
Feeling good. I'm excited to get going.
Let's do it. Keep it short.
Keep it short.
Enough pleasantries. Let's move on.
I like it. All right, man. So a little bit about Two Joes and a Pro. We're giving you all sports, but a heavy focus on all football. We love football, so we can give you a heavy focus on football, fantasy, news, everything. So cutting into that, we're going to get into a segment we like to call Breaking News, just covering all the news outside of the great debate topic we have. So big things in sports. I don't know if you guys are tracking, but we had WNBA draft that just occurred, which was pretty big. I'm a big WNBA fan, so we watched that. And then we also have a couple other things in the NBA. Let's see. We have Steph Curry passing Wilt Chamberlain to become the Warriors' all-time leading scorer, which is big. I'm a big Steph Curry fan. He shoots the lights out. We got LaMarcus Aldridge. He just retired at 35, signing a heart condition. Killer mid-range. Killer low post shot. He killed the game. Then we have Anthony Davis, which I'm happy him finally to come back because I'm a big Lakers fan. We need to get a repeat. So we have that going as far as NBA. Brian?
I got some questions.
Okay, go ahead.
I got some questions.
Yeah.
Hey, all right. So everyone knows I'm not huge into basketball, but I do have some questions about it. One.
Okay.
How long has Steph Curry been doing this? Did he do it like way fast? Did he like pass Wilt Chamberlain like way faster than?
I think so.
I guess it's the same as the NFL. It's like scoring is a lot more now than it was back in the day.
Yeah, for sure. I think him just being a volume three-point shooter and shooting, the highest percentage in NBA history actually is kind of a testament to how he got there. He's a killer from behind the arc, so I think that's definitely played a factor.
It's impressive.
Brian, you got questions?
No, man. I just want to mention that the my Boston Celtics are starting to look a little bit better. They're on a 5-game winning streak. They just beat your Lakers, despite LeBron and Anthony Davis being out. I will admit that. But hey, man, Kendrick Perkins tweeted out to Jason Tatum, told him to step up his game, and now we're on a 5-game win streak. Because for a while there, the Celtics did not look good.
Kendrick Perkins made a difference, I'm sure, right?
I mean, he woke him up.
He woke him up.
Pretty strong.
Yeah,
but it's probably it's probably because of the COVID stuff. Because he said he was having issues from all the COVID, and so he was trying to recover and breathe. So it's probably that. I don't think it was really much Kendrick Perkins. Okay.
I think Kendrick Perkins lit a fire under their ass because they have been underachieving thus far this season.
Is Kendrick Perkins a Boston great?
I wouldn't say he's a Boston great, but he's always been notoriously a, trash talking, like he will get in your face kind of guy, even when he was playing. Like he's not afraid. He's that veteran presence that the Celtics actually need to kind of tell you, hey, you need to get your shit straight. I
can hear that.
So
I did want to mention, so with the WNBA having their draft, right, the NBA draft coming up, I saw a lot of things in the headlines. People were kind of upset about the rules that, the NBA draft, a lot of the freshmen can be one and done and come out. And then for the WNBA, they have to wait 3 years, or I think 3 years, right? They have to get the degree, I believe, and then they can come out. What do y'all have feelings about that?
I think that's ridiculous. I mean, I don't understand the purpose of that. Why can't someone in the WNBA come out after 1 year if someone in the NCAA or the men's league can? So that just makes no sense. I wonder what the argument is for the people that are like, no, keep it the same.
Yeah, it should be the same across the board. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If it's going to be one and done, then let it be one and done. If it's going to be 2 or 3 years, then make it the same.
One thing I would ask, so you can answer this, Kenny, is the career length for a women's player longer than the average career length for a man?
I think I think it's actually longer just based off the fact that a lot of women that play in the WNBA, they have their season in the WNBA and they go overseas. So going overseas, that adds, it's a different game overseas. It's a lot more finesse than a physical play over here in the States. So I think that gives them more longevity. I know a lot more females have been playing a long time overseas, and males as well. I just think that everybody's dream is when they grow up, they want to be in the NBA. That's why they stay in the NBA. But as far as longevity, it's like I think Stephon Marbury is still playing overseas. Like 45, 50 years old. I don't know how old he is now, but he's been still playing overseas in China, I believe, and they love him over there. I think the biggest thing, though, to answer your question with the WNBA is that they don't get paid as much as the NBA, of course, right? I do think their salary needs to be increased. I think if you have a sister team that's in the same city as you, they should share some of the revenue. But I think that's the biggest issue because the 70,000 and stuff like that, minimum pay.
Brian looks like he's got something to say.
What you got to say?
I mean, I'd agree with that sentiment about the pay if the two leagues were not separate entities, but they aren't. I mean, they are. They're separate entities. So therefore, the WNBA have to pay their players based on their revenue. They can't be tapping into the NBA's revenue. Now, if they want to join up and be the same business, then fine. Then I'm okay with them getting a pay increase on the women's side because then, yes, the revenue will have to be shared more equally across the board.
But the NBA owns the WNBA, right? Like they're two different commissioners, of course, right? But the NBA still owns the WNBA, right? So if you're trying to bring more revenue into the WNBA, I think you should give them more television or time or put more emphasis on like incorporating that into what the NBA has going, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I just think that, like I said, it just comes down to revenue. If they're not bringing in the fans, then it's hard to justify increasing the player revenue.
But if you think about it, if you have a minimal player in the WNBA making anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000, but then you have a rookie in the NBA making $2 or $3 million, that's a big gap. I'm not saying they need to be making $1 million or whatever the case may be. That the best players should be making $1 million, right? Because the best players in the NBA are making $40-50 million, right? But I'm saying that the minimum shouldn't be $70,000. It should be at least a six figure. Like it should be at least six figures because if that's the case, then how are you going to keep the WNBA talent just playing WNBA? Because they can't survive. Like for instance, I believe Dee Richards got drafted by the New York Liberty, right? If she's making $70,000 in New York, how is she going to survive? You should not. So, but yeah, that's my spill on basketball. So,
I think it's the reason why I asked the question about the length of the career is because we can get into this in future podcasts, but like that's why like I think position wise in the NFL it should be like shorter because like. For example, a running back that has to do 3 years in college, it's like ridiculous because like their career is only going to be 7 to 10 years if they're good. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like the more wear and tear they're taking in college is just going to hurt them in the NFL. Whereas like an offensive lineman doing 3 years and then going out, they're more than likely going to play at least 10 years in the NFL if they're any good.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I would say in that. The problem with that is in college, with these college football players, a lot of them are not ready for the physicality of the NFL. Like a lot of them, their bodies just aren't fully developed yet. Like if they're a freshman versus when they're like a junior. I mean, yeah, you get some of the top guys, they're absolutely ready, but like not the guys getting drafted in later rounds.
That I have to disagree with that statement because it doesn't like. Of course, year after year, you get stronger and bigger, of course, right? But when you get to the NFL, it's not. People think like when you get to NFL, they're hitting so much harder. But it's not. They're not hitting so much harder. The speed increases, right? So the threshold from somebody, in high school, somebody's running, the fastest guy's running 4.4, but the slowest guy's running like a 4.8, 4.9. Right? In college, that threshold drops down to the 4.6, 4.7 range. But then when you get to the NFL, it's just less guys that's running slow. right? They're not hitting harder necessarily, right? The same big hits that you see in high school in the NCAA is the same that you see in the NFL, right? So it's not they're just so brolic in the NFL, because a lot of guys don't lift, right? A lot of guys don't believe in that. A lot of guys say, "Hey, coach, man, I get on the field, I'm going to produce." Of course, the guys in the trenches, they have to lift to the wear and tear of their body. But as far as skill position wise, besides running backs, receivers, DBs, they're not lifting like that because they're not in there.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that in a way, some guys are ready to come out. As a freshman, I don't think so, because you don't have enough game. But, like, at least as a sophomore, right, I think they should, like, drop it down a little bit for the positions, like you said, with the running back, whatever the case may be, because our threshold is so much shorter of having a longer career compared to a receiver or somebody that's outside, or a quarterback, whatever the case may be. And we don't get paid as much as other positions as well.
Well, that's more to do with the importance of the position to the game.
Easier to replace a running back.
In today's in today's game, it's more of a passing league, and yes, running backs, unless they are very special talent,
Alvin Kamara.
Yeah. They are. They're more easily replaced. Is all I'm saying, because there's a lot of guys that can produce at running back. I mean, look at the Patriots. They do it all the time. They just bring in these no-name guys. No name in the general public, but
Not
like
to
you know what I mean.
I got you.
Yeah, like undrafted names sometimes. Like whoever heard of Danny Woodhead back in the day? He produced. He did what they needed him to do.
Did y'all have him before the Chargers did, or was it vice versa?
No, he came from the Chargers.
Okay. So y'all didn't produce him. The Chargers did.
That's fair.
I'm just making sure, putting that out there. Don't take our credit.
Yeah. He doesn't remember anything before his career with the Patriots.
It's just, okay.
Hey, I admit it.
Found, guys.
Come on now.
Yeah, we found him. Even though he played in the league 4 years, it don't matter.
They found Rex Burkhead, too.
Yeah.
He's not as good.
Hey.
All right, we didn't even get to baseball. Look, see, this is how much we love football, that we just going on a tangent.
We jumped right into it. Yep.
Brian, I know you got some baseball stuff.
I mean, baseball really is just, it's just starting. Dodgers are hot right now. They've only lost 2 games. Tatis, he got hurt, but he's coming back tonight. Which, if you don't know, he's basically the face of baseball almost right now. He's young, super talented. Like, any team would love to have him. He just got paid, like $340 million, I believe it was. And in baseball, that's all guaranteed money. So he's a rich man. The White Sox, they've had Lance Lynn did a shutout a few nights ago, and then now Carlos Rodon just did a no-hitter last night. So the White Sox pitching looks pretty good right now. And then the Red Sox are a lot better than everybody thought they were going to be so far, but it's a long season. We'll see where they go from there. And if you can't tell everybody, I'm a Boston fan through and through. So
I got a question for you, though.
How about that?
Yeah.
Why do you think these young guys are getting paid so much money coming out? Like for instance, Tatis, right? Tatis, sorry,
yeah.
I keep saying Tatis for him, but Tatis, right? So for Tatis, I think he's only like 22, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I think that's right. 22
like
or 23.
So why is he getting paid so much money just based off of potential? Right? Like I don't understand why you give a guy $340 million, $360 million, that much money this early when it's kind of still unproven. Like he has good numbers, but he's unproven. Like I feel like Mike Trout's pay came way later after he was proven compared to Tatis.
Well, I mean, it's about timing. I mean, Trout got paid, 5-6 years ago. So, and also, basically, Trout was under team control, so they didn't have to pay him. Okay. The problem with baseball is these guys are under team control for the first 5 years of their major league career, and that doesn't count when they're in the minors. So basically, these teams they don't have to pay them as much. But if you extend a long-term deal early on, while they're still under team control, then basically you are getting that player at a lower cost long-term. Because if you wait until he's done with his team control part of his contract. Then he's going to command, $40+ million a year. Whereas now they got him for what? I think it was 12 years, $340. I think it was, or so it's less AAV because they're basically paying him for those years that they should have controlled him anyways.
That makes sense.
So it's win-win, especially as long as he doesn't, have some significant injury and his career gets shot. I mean, as long as that doesn't happen, that's really the only risk there is to paying a guy early. Yeah, but other than that, there's not much going on in baseball. Baseball's a long season, as everybody knows. And for a lot of, people our age, it's hard to watch. Ryan can attest to that.
It's a hell of a sport to go to, though.
Oh, it's fun as hell to go to. I think it's great to go to the park. But the problem with that is it's expensive.
One of the things I don't know how you do is fantasy baseball. Like, I don't understand how you have, like, the capacity to do that, like, every day. Every day.
Well, there's the reason why I only have one team. And unlike fantasy football where I have, 5, 6, 7 teams.
Yeah. I try to do fantasy basketball, and after the first couple weeks, I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. It's too much. It's too much.
Especially during COVID, I can only imagine, like NFL was, like, ridiculous with, like, COVID this year doing fantasy, but, like, I can only imagine with baseball.
That's for sure.
Well, the other thing with like fantasy basketball and fantasy hockey, I feel like it comes down to you either have one of the top guys or you're just not going to be very good. Because if you don't have like LeBron, your team's going to probably be not as good. There's just such a huge gap from those top players in those two sports, So it's not as fun to play those games fantasy wise. At least not for me. I mean.
It doesn't bother me that much. I just think it's more so of it's not just set it and forget it like how I am with fantasy football. Like I could do one lineup and then I could come back and check it on Thursday and I'm like, maybe I want to change something. With basketball, it's just like, is he playing tonight? Is he not playing tonight? I got a flip flop. But I don't know if it's like that in baseball as well. I feel like it is, but I don't know if y'all do a week by week basis or if it's just game by game. Like
you can do week by week basis. I do daily though. Where it's called a rotisserie league, basically, and you have to set your lineup every day.
I do best ball.
So.
Done with it.
So Ryan, what we got for football?
Man, it's off season. We're getting ready for the draft, so we got the draft coming up. I think it's in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. 2 weeks. Yep.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be going over some mock drafts. My team's the Giants. Kenny, you got the Chargers, right?
Yeah,
definitely. And then Brian is a big Jets fan.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, so I was reading some articles. Next week they got the owners meeting, so they're gonna be proposing some new rule changes. And I was reading some of them. One of them that was pretty interesting is some of the number changes that they're changing up for the players, or they're proposing to change up for the players. So like linebackers could be like 1 to 39, kind of like college. Yeah. I think lineman. The article said lineman is 50 to 59, which I'm pretty sure that's already numbers that offensive linemen can be, is 50 to 59. So I don't know what addition that's really adding, but I think it'd be pretty cool to have like receivers and running backs running around with like number 2. Be like NCAA.
I think that'd be legit. I would love to see that there, or like I would actually like to see like freedom in like numbers. So like if we wanted to wear 55, we could wear 55 at receiver. Like I would want freedom like that. Because I don't really see the big issue in why you have to be a 50s to be an O-lineman. Doesn't make sense to me. It's just a number.
It comes down to eligibility if they're eligible or not.
Yeah, but that's just based off of like if they're covered or uncovered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but you could technically have like a staggered front, basically. And, like, the other team's going to have a harder time figuring out who's who. Having those numbers is just makes it easier for the defense, I think. And for the referees, too. you don't want their job any harder than it already is. They already mess it up enough.
The other proposed rule change was expanding the booth to official communication during booth reviews. So hopefully, apparently people in New York are not talking to the officials whenever they go under booth review, which I thought was already a thing. But apparently they're trying to propose to expand the communication. So hopefully that clears up penalties that hey, you didn't see this, clear that up real quick.
So they've been lying.
Probably.
So they go in under the little thing and then do nothing.
Whatever.
Sit there and pop some Skittles.
As long as they could speed up the review process, I'm all for it. Because I hate that. I hate it. It takes so long for them to I get they got to figure out the ball position, the time on the clock, but come on, it ain't that hard.
I do not want them reviewing penalties. I thought that was awful when they did that. So, and it slows the game down.
It was, they're not doing it anymore, but it was a terrible change.
Yeah.
But I feel that way if you're on the winning side of it, right? But if you're not, if you were, what was that, 2018, 2017, with the Rams and the New Orleans Saints, with that pass interference, was come on.
Yeah, but under that rule change, that would have stood, even though it was a blatant pass interference. Because the way they wrote the rule, they almost never overturned pass interference penalties because they just went with because if they went against that pass interference call, then the ref would get knocked for it was just awful the way it was written. They never overturned it. That's why they took it away that year.
So you take it away, and then you have Jared Goff go to the Super Bowl and just get shown up. Yep. Cost my boy Breezy a win.
You don't know that. You don't think Belichick would have had a game plan for that boy?
Cost my boy Breezy a ring. They were on.
Okay.
They were on another level.
Okay. I'm just saying you don't know that.
So you tell me if
you don't know that without playing the game.
Drew Brees versus Tom Brady is not going to be a harder matchup than Tom Brady versus Jared Goff.
Well, I would say the Rams had a better defense than the Saints, so it'd be more of a shootout versus what we got was a 13-10 game or whatever it was. I think it ended up being 16-10, but
yeah,
they were in a slouch defense.
Not like the Rams.
Okay, yeah, sure. But
the Rams have been a top 5 defense last few years.
That's because of their front.
Yeah,
but the Saints front is no slouch either.
They don't have Aaron Donald. Okay,
but they got Cameron Jordan.
Rams might not have Aaron Donald.
I get that, but Cameron Jordan, he's really good. Aaron Donald's probably one of the greatest defensive linemen to ever play.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
I'm just, I'm just saying, we don't know what would have happened. We can speculate all we want, but
I know it would have been a better contest than what we saw.
It was a good contest. It was just a defensive game, and most people don't like that nowadays.
I hated the game. It was pathetic.
It was a defensive game. It was like a 80s game,
It wasn't even that it was defensive. It was there was a lot of dumb plays by Goff. So it was it almost looked sloppy. It looked sloppy.
Yeah. It's what happened?
Maybe.
It's how did you get here? Oh, I forgot. The pass interference.
Listen, you know what? The Saints, they got the ball in overtime, and what happened? Your boy Drew Brees threw a pick. So, he had the opportunity to make up for the refs screwing him over, but he didn't do it. He choked. So he had an opportunity.
I can't really say nothing because you got the GOAT on your side. Or you had the GOAT. Y'all don't got him anymore, but you had the GOAT.
Oh, I did.
So,
I got
the other GOAT.
Oh, yeah.
You got the other GOAT. Oh, yeah, my boy Killer Cam. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Loves to kill a team. I know.
Last thing on the rule changes. Apparently, the Ravens were proposing to add a sky judge, so that got nixed. They withdrew the proposal, but I don't know what that would have added. They just wanted another ref to be in the were they gonna suspend him in the air across the freaking field?
They probably just would have had a ref watching their TV.
Yeah.
The skybox is legit though, or the sky cam.
That's okay, I guess, but I don't know. You're just giving a ref another angle.
So.
Yeah, I feel like it could get in the way a little bit because if a ref doesn't see it on the field and then the sky judge or whatever they want to call him comes through and say, hey, no, he was holding, he was doing it. Then it's kind of like, human error can come into play. So,
yeah.
Yep. And then so they'll vote next week on Wednesday, and then we'll probably talk about it next week. Whatever changes they've made. Brian, do you have any opinions on the J.C. Jackson signing as tender? Are you happy that he did not find another team?
Oh, of course. Of course I'm happy. I mean, just, yet another talented player that Bill brings out of the undrafted realm, So,
golly.
No, but he's a really good corner. Pro Football Focus had him in the top 5 this year. I mean, he's a really solid corner. I will say though, if for anybody that doesn't like him, he did have a rough go at it when Stephon Gilmore was not playing. So he might not be a number 1 talent. He might be only good because the other side of the field is getting shut down by someone better.
So yeah, Juju. He's Juju Smith-Schuster?
Huh? Who was?
I said he's a Juju Smith-Schuster, right?
Beneficiary.
Beneficiary, right?
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Juju's still good, but he's not as good when
he's not number 1.
Yeah.
Juju, man, I don't really like. I used to like him, but I don't. He just talks too much. Like
Corvette.
Who signs with a team? But he signed with the Steelers again, and then comes out with news like, oh, if I didn't sign here, I was going to sign with the Chiefs. Like, why even come out with that news? It's just so stupid.
Which is crazy because other teams was going to pay him more money, and he took a pay cut to go back to the Steelers, which is like
on a 1-year deal, right?
No, I thought it was multiple.
Yeah.
It was more than it was 1 year.
I think it's a 1.
I think it was only 1. It was like $8 million too. I
thought it was multiple.
Right?
I don't know. Either way,
I feel like they got him cheap.
Yeah, they got him cheap. To me, it doesn't make sense unless you're hiding something. Unless you don't want people to really know your talent, but you know that the Steelers know who you are, so they're gonna try to put you in the best situation. But you go to another team and it's like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, he might be a fake.
You know what I mean? Like Nelson Aguilar, right? The Eagles had him, and people wanted Nelson Aguilar to be this guy, and they were so pissed that he would drop the ball and he wouldn't produce. But then he got in a good situation in Oakland, and then he started putting up numbers. And then, Bill, he said, "Oh, come here, I'll pay you endless money." So hopefully Nelson can keep it up, but
we'll hope somebody's throwing on the ball.
It's gonna be Cam.
Oh God.
Juju's not a number 1. I think he knows now too. Even last year, anytime Deontay Johnson was out there, that's their Antonio Brown. That man's good.
Oh no, only thing I had Deontay Johnson in fantasy. Only thing that bothered me was the easy passes he dropped. He dropped a lot of easy passes, and I hated that because I'm like, man, that's points. Like they're giving you screen, all right. Drop the ball. And I just be like, dang. But it's something that tell you, if Big Ben keeps going to him, he must be that guy, right? Yeah. So
either that or he's got something on Big Ben, and Big Ben, I'll get you the ball. I'll get you the ball.
Hey, you better throw me that. Oh, remember, I saw it. Okay, now.
I saw her leaving your room.
I saw her.
I know she's 16. No, I'm just kidding.
No, chill out.
Oh, yeah. Don't blame him for something he didn't do.
Oh my God, spit it out.
He gets the legal ones at least, hopefully.
Hey, Sheldon Richardson, he got cut by the Browns, so that saves them $11 million cap, which makes sense after them signing Clowney. Or did they already sign him, or they?
But Clowney's an end, and he's the D tackle, so.
Yeah, but he was the easiest to cut to save them $11 million to fit him under the cap.
I feel like he's a scapegoat for every team.
Yeah.
I feel like they tell him hey bro, we're gonna give you $60 million. He's like, yeah, $60 million. They backload it. Third year come, peace. Every time.
If he wants to come play for the Giants and replace the homeboy we just lost, due to the Lions, Tomlinson, I think.
Tomlinson, yeah.
If he wants to come replace him for I don't know, the vet minimum. He used to live in New York. He can come get his house back.
Why would he take the vet minimum? He's not terrible.
He won't. I'm just saying.
God.
We don't have anything to offer, man. We went all out in free agency.
because you gave everything to Kenny Galladay, which is my guy. But like,
look, here's my argument for Kenny Galladay. Give him the money because now there's because this is a contract. Well, it's not a contract year for Daniel Jones because we got the 5th-year option. But this is it. If he can't get it done with all these weapons, that's it. The Giants will just be like, "You got to go, man. You're out."
All what weapons? Y'all got one. Kenny Galladay.
And then Saquon back.
So Saquon, my bad. I'm talking about receiving core, right? Because I know you're gonna tell me Sterling.
That's 4-3 speed.
For like a game or two.
Not even
that's why he's the 4th or 5th receiver. Look,
and that's bad.
He's got Slayton. He's still got Sterling Shepard, who's good in the slot.
I don't want to hear that.
I don't care what you think about Slayton.
Nah.
Or what you think about Shepard. In the slot, he's good.
He's good for a couple games, but he got to get that. His toughness got to be back to the level it was when he's at Oklahoma. Like, he goes in a game, in a couple games, he turns an ankle, I'm done. I'm out. Now, I'm not saying that he's not hurt legitimately, but, like, he sprained his thumb. I can't catch. I'm like, come on, man. Like, let me see something, bro.
Hey, that's another reason why I think that they should maybe go receiver in the first round with that 11th pick, because if they add more pressure to him, he's going to be out there because he's going to. We only signed him last year, I think, to like a 3-year deal, so it's not like he's got like a long-term
and offer some
contract.
money too. It wasn't like 3-year deal with $12 million.
No, I think it was like 10, 12 million a year.
A year,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, a year, which is fine because that's like slot receiver money, unless you're like
for a top tier.
Yeah.
For a guy that played a whole season, yeah.
I mean, he was pretty good at points. He's good in the red zone. He gets touchdowns.
Because nobody thinks he's going to throw the ball. Like, it's like, you're playing this game? Oh, dang, I forgot to cover you. I didn't think you was going to be here this game. My bad, bro. You know,
hey, where's Golden Tate, though? Because he was on the Giants last year. He was pissed.
Is he still out there? I didn't think he got picked up.
No, I think he's still a free agent. I don't think he got picked up by anybody.
Yeah. See?
Which I'm a Golden Tate fan. I don't think he gets enough credit because he's very durable and he catches the ball well. But I just think he's just kind of like, it's kind of like a black sheep. Like, everybody's like, yeah, put you in the back burner. But it's like, man, he produces. So, I don't know.
You can come to New England.
Hey, you guys will take everyone's trash.
Oh, man. I'll take anybody at receiver right now.
Hey,
why? If supposedly he can't throw in the ball, why? Why are you going to take anybody if can't give the ball to him? Because you got a little trusty killer. You got it.
Because Golden Tate can run that end around. You know, just. No, I have no faith in Cam Newton, and if he is the quarterback for the Patriots next year, it's a waste of a season.
So what was his numbers right now? He threw for 2,000.
I mean, it was like 2,500.
I'm telling you right now, Cam would throw for $3,000.
That's not that much.
He would throw for 3,500.
I don't think so.
I'm telling you, I'm saying it right now. 3,500.
3,500.
Yeah.
Will he have more than 10 touchdowns?
Would he have more than 10 touchdowns? He would have 3,500, and then he will have a better. He will have more. How many interceptions he had this year?
10.
10. And how many touchdowns he threw?
8.
He will have a plus. He will be Joe Namath. Okay.
That's not necessarily a plus.
Now I'm saying, damn, that is not a plus. He do more picks, right?
Yeah.
3,500. I'm saying right now, putting on the board, 3,500, right? 20 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He's gonna have a 2-1.
Oh, so passing. He's gonna pass.
Passing, 3,500, 20 touchdowns, passing, 10 interceptions. I got faith in Cam.
No way.
Okay.
If he's
Cam,
I'm taking the under.
If he's throwing that much, if he's throwing the ball enough to get 3,500 yards, he's throwing more than 10 interceptions. Fact. There's no way.
Y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand when your back's against the wall and you have nothing else. Like last year, he had a little excuse because of COVID. But when your back is against the wall, you have nothing else. This is his last shot.
He threw the balls 368 times last year. That's like not a lot for a quarterback.
Because he missed a few games, right?
He missed one game.
He missed one game?
Yeah.
Let me be quiet then.
Yeah. And he started 15
Yeah, but
games.
that took him out a little bit, and they changed the game plan. He wasn't feeling himself. He still, come on, Jason Tatum just started playing better right now. What Jason Tatum said, hey man, I still was going through the COVID. I still got to take, oxygen mask, whatever he said, to breathe better. So how Campbell wasn't suffering for anything like that? You don't want to hear it.
Because I think that they're both lying.
Cam didn't get a tweet. Put a fire on his ass.
Oh yeah.
He didn't get one.
That's because Bill doesn't tweet.
Yeah. So does that wrap it up for football, Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh man, getting me all spun up on Cam Newton.
I can go forever, but we're getting pretty close.
Man, I don't want to hear y'all. You guys are hating on Cam. 3,500, 2010.
All right, it's on the board, so we will
3,500, 2010.
We'll revisit this.
100%.
All right, everybody. We want to get into another segment we have called The Great Debate. Talking on the topic of the chat or topic of the podcast or what we're going on, which will be future or current NFL Hall of Famers that shouldn't be there. So we're going to start with Ryan. Let Ryan take it off. Who do you think is a future or current NFL Hall of Famer that shouldn't be there?
All right. So we flipped me. You said me, right? Ryan or Brian? You said
Ryan.
All right.
Ryan.
I think mine's pretty easy because I think we pulled a little switcheroo earlier. So I'm going to go with Joe Namath, as he does not belong by no means in the Hall of Fame. Now let me hear it. This is going to be a good argument.
I know Brian doesn't agree, but I agree.
But here's my one. I'll just give one stat, and that's he only had 2 seasons where he threw more TDs than interceptions. And I get it. It's a different era, but there was a season where he threw 4,000 yards. That's pretty good. He was throwing the ball. He was throwing the ball a lot.
High clip.
But he was throwing a lot of interceptions.
You looking at them numbers?
Well, yeah, I'm looking at some numbers right now, and they ain't good. And I've known this about Joe Namath. Like, I know his numbers don't reflect the type of player he was. But when you look at Joe Namath, you gotta take him into 2 parts: before his injury and then after. Because before his injury, that's when he threw the 4,000 yards. That was in 67. Man, when he blew his knee out, you're talking about back in 1970 when the medical was not the same it is now. That would have ended most people's career. So, while I appreciate the fact that he stuck it out for 5-6 years after that, he just wasn't good after that knee injury. And so I think that really does retract from his greatness. He was a very good quarterback, especially for his era. And I mean, he went out there and beat Johnny Unitas in the Super Bowl. You can't deny that.
So what are you saying? Like, when you say you're saying Johnny Unitas like he's the greatest of all time or something?
I mean, some people do hold him as the greatest of all time. So there are some people that think Johnny Unitas is the greatest quarterback to ever play, and it's the reason why, that he's the reason why quarterbacks developed into what they are today. He was the first of the throwing quarterbacks.
He was a trailblazer, but he is no one's having that debate anymore. There's no one in there.
No,
the only people having that debate is someone that wants clickbait, wants you to read their news article.
Sure,
that's it.
I don't agree with that. I'm just letting you know that there are people out there that do think Johnny Unitas is the greatest of all time.
Probably 1970.
Hey, I mean,
that's since we crossed into 2000s.
There's people that thought he was better than Montana.
They're stupid.
And but they're also taking into account he played before the Super Bowl era. So,
it's like the Packers fans that count all 50 of their championships.
Championships.
It's title town. No offense.
It ain't title town. Sorry.
I get what you're saying, and if you want to have a soft spot for Namath, that's fine. But even before that injury, those 2 years where he threw for 3,300 yards and 4,000 yards, he still had 19 touchdowns and 27 interceptions, and 26 touchdowns and 28 interceptions, respectively. Like, that's not. I don't care if he's still throwing the ball for almost 500 attempts, and even in that era, like, that's a lot of throws, but like, you're throwing a lot of interceptions. So I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, compare him to his peers. I think that needs to be taken into account when you're talking about Hall of Fame. And really, who else besides Johnny Unitas can you really compare him to of his era?
Considering they had 4 running backs in the backfield, you can't really compare anybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, they really only had like a split end and maybe a flanker, and that was it. They were running the ball a lot.
That's it, yep.
Joe Namath threw 220 interceptions in his beautiful career. How many seasons did he play?
Not a lot.
He did not play a lot of seasons. And so, listen to this: 220 interceptions, and overall attempts, he had 3,762 passing attempts. Eli Manning had 244 interceptions on like 8,119 attempts. Like,
yeah, I mean, come on, we can't compare guys 40 years apart here.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but
I'm saying that's double the attempts, yet he only threw 20 more interceptions. Eli,
I know.
That just speaks to
I know.
how bad it was.
Who are you calling as a person that shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, correct?
Yeah, you're correct. I don't think Eli should be.
We can go right into
Yeah.
Let's hear your reasons why.
Yeah.
And then we can rebuttal.
The biggest reason why Eli should not be a Hall of Famer is when you rank him against his peers, he is behind at least 4 other quarterbacks statistically, when you include accolades like Super Bowls. You know, so you got Brady, Breeze, you got Rodgers and Roethlisberger.
So
those 4 are way ahead of Eli.
Way ahead
in my mind. Yeah.
How can you just say way ahead?
Because statistically, Eli, without his rings, Eli statistically is not even close to them. The only reason why this is even a conversation for Eli is because he did win 2 Super Bowls. And you can't take that away from him. He
played so many seasons without getting injured. He only missed 1 game,
sure,
and it wasn't even due to injury.
Yes, I agree. Durable guy, might have retard strength. I'm not sure. But, you know.
I'm not going to let you get on my guy.
Hey, man, look. Listen.
But I would say this.
Tell me, to the end he never led the league. He never led the league in anything, except for interceptions.
So if you don't lead the league in anything, that means what? That means you're not top tier. Right?
You were never the best at anything in your era.
He was the best at beating the Patriots.
No, that would be his coach. Coughlin has Belichick's number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But you got to see towards the end of his career, it's not like they were giving him monster rosters, right? So like when they won the Super Bowl, everybody says, "Oh, it's a defense, okay? He put up decent numbers, but towards the end of his career, when everybody was like, "Oh yeah, get rid of Eli," it's not like he had killers, right? He had Victor, right? When he had Victor, he put up numbers. When he had Odell, he put up a little bit of numbers. And then when they got hurt, then what do you have? People are going to say, "Oh, his arm is this. His arm." I'm like, I can only throw to so many people.
Look, the guy
who's actually
producing. Was clutch in the playoffs. He just had like a different kind of gene.
1 year.
2 years. 2 years.
One.
2 years.
One. I know. You're not getting 07 from me. You're not.
He still played well. He had to throw those passes. He had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception in that game. Against a good defense.
It took, one guy sticking gum to his helmet and catching that ball on his helmet.
Even if he took that play out, he still had another down. You don't know if he would have got a completion on that.
You just told me that. You didn't know about the Saints. You don't know what
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. Look, All I'm saying is I don't think they win that game without Eli. They don't win that game, and they don't win in 11 without Eli.
Agree.
They're not winning. They're not winning it with Cam Newton. They won it with Eli. And like, if you want to argue about the interceptions, sure, he threw a lot of interceptions, but so did Brett Favre. I'm not comparing him to Brett Favre because Brett Favre's got a ton of accolades. But like, Eli played a long career where he didn't get injured, and that's not a negative against him. That should be a positive. So he's top 10 in every statistical category upon his retirement.
because he played a lot of games.
That counts for something, man.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Because
it does.
I was always told, they said, "What have you done for me lately?" Right? In football, how good are you? And availability. If you're not available, I don't care how good you are. Right? But if you're good and you're available, then we can do something, right? You can play for me. So,
but we're not putting guys in the Hall of Fame just because they're available.
But he's available and he's putting up quality numbers, right?
Yes.
He put up quality numbers, but was he ever elite?
That's
no.
Like the dumbest word ever. Was he ever elite?
Because everybody's interpretation of elite is different. Right? If I ask you who the top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now, you're going to tell me something different than I probably would say, right? Because you might have potential in your head rather than me saying, no, I have longevity or I have numbers based off of right now, right? Like a lot of people say Kyler Murray is elite right now. I don't think he's elite, right? I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying a lot of people say he is elite. I don't think he's elite.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
People say Josh Allen is elite. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I think he had 1 year, right? Now, if just like Lamar, if it's longevity, if they continue it up, then yeah, they're elite. But not 1 year you're going to tell me, oh, the guy's elite because he did it one time, right? I'm a Justin Herbert fan. Of course, I want him to be elite, but it's 1 year, right? It's a lot of guys that had one good year and then plateaued or fell off. So,
yeah, and Eli just happened to have two.
A better argument of saying don't let Eli be a first ballot Hall of Famer than you do having to say he's not a Hall of Famer. Like,
I'm just saying, look at any quarterback that's in the Hall of Fame right now, and they at one time during their career led the league in some category that was not a negative. I don't think so. Not interceptions.
You said that's not a
negative.
Right. What?
Joe Namath probably led.
Namath? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, passing yards in 1 year.
So did Dan Phelps. Dan Phelps should have won the 82 MVP, but he got beat out by a kicker somehow. Yeah, go tell me how that was fair. Okay. I'm just saying. Every quarterback that is in there led something, including your boy Troy Aikman, who you don't like. He led the league in completion percentage 1 year. And that's it. That's like your best argument for somebody that's in the Hall of Fame that you can compare to Eli and be like, no, if he's in, then Eli should be. Like, that's your best argument.
I just think that leading the league in something nowadays, like especially like when it comes to like passing, there's so many people are like didn't freaking Jameis Winston like last year lead the league in passing
interceptions and touchdowns. Yeah.
So he checks that box, so all he's got to do now is win a Super Bowl.
He didn't lead the league in touchdowns.
He led the league in touchdowns.
No, he didn't.
I thought
he was 30 and 30.
Oh, he led the league in passing yards, I believe, last year. I think it was passing yards and 30 and 30. Because people were saying if Sean Payton could get the interceptions down, then he could be elite. Listen to that word, elite. That's what they said. Y'all still looking something up?
This is not showing me the right thing. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I would detour away from the quarterbacks, right? A guy that's, I'm not saying he's not Hall of Fame worthy, but he damn sure not first time ballot is Terrell Davis. Like I was looking at his numbers, and of course, what he had 2,000 yards 1 year, then he had 20 touchdowns another year, right? Which is cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking that away from him, right? But as far as like my biggest thing is, I guess I'm like Ryan. I swear on the side is availability, which you're not a fan of Brian, but availability, and he hasn't done it for that long. He did it 7 years, and he had 7,600 yards, right? So first 4 years, 1,100, 1,500, 1,700, 2,000, and then he disappeared. 200, 700. but he still got into the Hall of Fame. Meanwhile, we got guys like Eddie George, right? He's not in yet. 10K yards, never missed a start, right? Yep. You got Roger Craig, right? 13,000 yards. You got Herschel Walker, played in the USFL, killed that, came over, still not in. So, for
Tiki Barber.
Yeah, Tiki Barber as well.
Give you a little shout out there, Ryan, for your Giants.
Well,
so
Tiki sucks.
No, he didn't.
He's good.
Go look at his yards.
He was a beast, but when he left the Giants, all he did was talk shit. So, like, the fact that we went and won a Super Bowl right the year after he left, I felt vindicated.
Yeah, but he just felt some type of way.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he had a problem with Coughlin, which, by all means, I get.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. You're not going to get any debate with us on Terrell Davis.
Cool.
That
guy.
Debate,
he shouldn't be. He should not be in the Hall of Fame.
And he had John Elway as his quarterback. With John Elway was still putting up decent numbers, like not even decent. He putting quality numbers.
I've got a good stat for you. So Terrell Davis in where'd TD go? TD in 1998 he ran for 2,000 yards. Great season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beast. Yeah. He should be in the Hall of Fame because he ran for that many yards.
Yeah.
The 1999 team, he got injured. He only played 4 games.
Yep.
Guess what? Olandis Gray ran for 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns that year. After he got like anyone, I could have ran behind that offensive line and probably got 1,000 yards. Like he was a product of a great system, and like Clinton Portis went through there. Like there were plenty of running backs that they were just like, "Hey, line up, let's go." Like,
Clinton Portis, Gainesville guy.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, he was a special talent when he was healthy. And so maybe those guys don't get 2,000 yards and like 21 touchdowns, but like there's no way that he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. No, and like people try to argue that like Emmitt Smith ran behind, that everybody could run behind that line, and maybe they're right, but he also did it for 15 or 16 years. So, you know, he at least proved it every year. Right. So that's the difference here, is that he was consistently doing it every single year.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I feel good on that.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrapping that up for the great debate. So do you have anything for us, Brian, as far as bets of the week? Do you have any bets for us for BK Bets?
Yeah, I didn't take I haven't been paying attention to the betting lines that much lately, only because it's kind of that point of the year where there's not really any significant action right now. I mean, it's regular season for baseball, basketball, hockey.
Who's betting?
But I mean,
if you're betting on early season baseball, you're
a degenerate. Yeah, I mean, which is fine. Which is fine.
When I lived in Vegas, you could make some money in the early season, right? Because people didn't catch on yet. People didn't get their stride. So you can make a little bit of money in that. I was just wondering if, Brian had anything in the pocket.
Oof. But if I was a betting man, I would have been betting on the Red Sox.
Of course you would.
You would have paid out. I'm just saying, you would have gotten some money.
I got some stuff for y'all next week, man, with UFC, because it's going to be a good showdown next week. But yeah, everyone, we appreciate y'all joining us again for an episode of Two Joes and a Pro. Again, Kenny, Ryan, and Brian. We'll see you guys next week. We'll have our mock drafts. I know we'll have a little debate with that coming up. So thank you again, and have a good night.